Sure.
So it was astonishing what can be done in those places. And these are the people who are the professionals from way back who have the artistries and the skills and the thinking on their feet ability, I mean, as well as detailed. They just knew how to put anything together, and what they didn't know, they knew how to get it.
Yeah, it's the old Hollywood guard, right? Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes, of course.
Absolutely.
You better believe it.
Yeah, and then one of the scenes in Tron that I always remember, because it's just so odd to me, is comes at the beginning of the film where the three of you are standing in front of that gigantic door.
Oh yeah, that was up at Livermore Lab. That was a real door. How we got in there, why we got in there, I don't know. Because you know what that is, right?
What is? Yeah, I was like, that was my question. Is
kind of a nuclear power plant that's like 10, 20 stories underground. I didn't think much. I mean, we just kind of went there and did our job, and nobody, later on people said, well, did you have a map of the place? I said, a map of the place. Poor Bruce Logan, who is who's a Brit. He was a lighting guy, but a brilliant. Bruce Logan blew up the Death Star. Brilliant guy. Mm-hmm. He said they were following him into the men's room. I mean, this is a high security location. Mm-hmm. Why or how we were in there, I can't tell you. But everything you see there, down to the laser, down to those gratings that we were running over, was all real.
Yeah. And the film has I think people say that some of the visuals seem sort of dated now, but I think they've actually aged pretty appropriately, because they have this very, I was talking to Dan about it actually too. There's this sort of expressionist to the visuals, not like the German expression, because I think wasn't Mobius involved?
Yes. Oh, that costume I wore was Mobius. That was all Mobius. That god-awful skull cap I was wearing was Mobius. And that thing was chamois cloth with wire in it, glued to my skin. Want to know why I show up in a helmet on the Solar Sailor? Tell you why. They've been gluing this thing to my skin for weeks, okay, and then yanking on it and pulling it down, and then gluing it to the blisters that were forming and yanking on the blisters. And one day they just started to bleed. And I said, that's it. I will not bleed for you. Give me one of the hockey helmets like the guys. And I just grabbed it and showed up on the Solar Sailor. I said, I'm wearing this today. That's how that happened.
How long were you involved in pre-production? I mean, did you come on early in pre-production? Because this is a film that took.
Well, Jeff was cast first.
3 or 4 years.
I was probably cast second, and then Bruce was cast. I think they may have had David Warner and already, possibly Barnard Hughes. Yeah,
and how was Hughes?
Oh, charming and so patient. He probably was one of the few of us who was well behaved. He was in that just gigantic, hot, god-awful, almost like the Wizard of Oz outfit when he was. When I go to him at the end, right. and I plead with him to let Bruce and Tron into the I.O. tower, that he was, you could just see him pouring sweat inside there, and it was just really hot and very uncomfortable. Yeah.
And how long did you guys shoot for?
Well, just a standard shooting schedule, about 6 weeks. A little bit of pre-production, a little bit of post, but pretty standard.
And then all the black stage stuff that was done in L.A.?
Yeah, that was done on a soundstage, big old black warehouse, a soundstage which was entirely black on Disney Studio lot. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. And then and how difficult was it? Dan and I were sort of making fun of the fact that there were frisbees strapped to your guys' backs, right? So,
they didn't give me a damn frisbee. My father was a small arms instructor in the Army, and I couldn't hit a mark any better than any one of those guys. Give me a damn frisbee if you want to get something hit. But no, she's a girl. She has to run from here to there and look helpless. I'll give you helpless.
So, like, when you're on when you're on, like, the sailor ship, right? Like, is it?
Yeah, they let me fly the ship. Okay.
How was it difficult? Is it difficult?
I'll tell you what, it was difficult. There was nothing there. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
That was the one day I raised my hand and said, "What the hell are you talking about?" There's nothing in this whole black warehouse. Sudden one morning, there's a black riser there, and there's a black banquet table covered in black felt. And this was the day Lisberger says, "Okay, you guys, you're on the Solar Sailor. You're crossing the game sea, go. And Morgan, you're flying the ship." I said, "What the hell are you talking? There's nothing here." He showed me the Sid Mead graphics, what it was going to look like.
Right.
Then, and what it was, and then I got up to the table. He goes, "And this is the council that flies the table." Again, I go, "Nothing here." And he said, "Just do anything. The Disney artist will put something in later." So in my mind's eye, all I had to work with was being a sound engineer.
Sure.
In my mind, I saw a soundboard, and that was somehow moving it forward.
Nice.
I had to think of something because the audience knows when you're lying.
It would have been. It could have been more effective if you guys would have had the Caddyshack drugs, perhaps on the Tron
I'm
set.
sure I don't know what you're talking about.
And then one of the visual, I think my favorite visual in all of Tron actually is, and I wanted to ask you about, and it's a real beautiful visual too, is that close two shot of you and Jeff Bridges as you guys kiss on as a ship.
Oh, I know. I mean, that was. I didn't know how close they were on us. I didn't know all that. All I knew it took Jeff about 20 takes to get it right. There were just so many things going on. But, yeah, it turned out beautifully. It turned out really, really well. And I finally saw Tron on Blu-ray on a bigger screen about 6 weeks ago.
Right.
And what was great is that I was in a room with a lot of people, and all these little kids started gravitating towards the screen. They were just mesmerized by it. Sure. Because it just jumps right off the screen in Blu-ray.
Yeah. Did you? Well, I guess the logical progression of question for me is, how was kissing Jeff Bridges?
What's that?
How was kissing Jeff Bridges?
Oh, was it great?
Okay,
it was just fine. I was okay. I got to kiss both of my leading men in that movie.
True,
it's a dream job. I'm fine.
That's right.
Hey, if you got to go to work and that's what you got to do, you got to do your job.
That's right. And so, what did you think about Tron Legacy?
I thought that it had a lot of fascinating special effects. Everybody loves the light cycles. I thought that who put it together must have been a fan of 2001: A Space Odyssey and Star Wars and lots and lots of films.
Sure.
Blade Runner. I would have liked to see a little more Tron in Tron Legacy, but that's their choice, They write the script and they make choices, and then you move forward.
Sure. And, I know Dan was quite angry that he wasn't asked to be in Tron. So,
I wasn't angry. It did really well for me. The fans made their opinions known, and websites were threw up all over the place, and the press picked it up. And quite frankly, had I just walked through the background in one scene, I would have been probably under the Disney press machine. I wasn't. So, they wanted content and questions and interviews. And I always had two rules on my team. Always respect Disney and no whining.
Right.
Come on, everybody takes a hit. Just stand there and do well and do well at what we do. And it was beautifully. It was handled so well. And I really am okay with the fact that we'll see what happens with the next one round. If you look at the IMDb. And look me up on IMDb. It says I'm rumored to be in it.
And are those rumors true?
I think you'd have to ask the people who started the rumors. I sure as heck didn't start it, but if you click on the hyperlink, it goes to Disney's page, and I don't know them to make mistakes. I think they may be just seeing how people react. I don't know.
Okay. Well,
they didn't ask me, but...
Right. Well, one thing that was interesting about Legacy is there was this... I loved Legacy, actually, but there was this strange, sort of backlash against it when it came out. But, I mean, on the same level, there's
Which part of it was, which...
Well, I mean, it's all stupid, because, I mean, people just complain that it wasn't the Tron they were expecting, when I thought it was actually really consistent in tone, and also with, like, the script structure was very similar to the first Tron, I thought, too. But anyway, there was this backlash on the internet about it. But I mean, there's this sort of catch-22, right? Which is like where a Tron Legacy can actually open up, like you said, another generation of people appreciating the first one. So is that a sort of catch-22? Is that worth the catch-22? I mean, you don't think they've soiled
I think whatever they did, studios always will catch a backlash for making decisions when there's a well-loved film. What I learned in Marketing 101, and I only took one marketing class because they had really cute guys in it, what they said was work from your core market and work outward.
Sure.
So start with your core market, the people who already would love the film. So I don't know how that worked for them, but I will tell you this, when it was re-released globally, they packaged Tron, the original Tron, with it, and it created a whole new global market for me. So before, when my demographic was 73% male, I run the stats, so I know. All of a sudden, young women started following me because they loved Yuri, and because there were very few female science fiction superheroes at that time.
Sure.
Very few. Wonder Woman, maybe, but it just didn't really happen that much. So there were a lot, especially tech types, somebody to look to. So when I go to meet people now, lots and lots of young women in their 20s and younger. So it's pretty cool.
Cool. And my last question for you is, what's your favorite Tron memory from working on the original?
My favorite Tron memory. Let's see. I just love going to work every morning. It's long hours, but getting up in the morning and getting the call from the assistant director going, we're ordering sushi today. What kind would you like? And we're getting a bank of video games. Are these sounding good to you? I'm like, yeah, sounds great. And then, of course, there's when I called my father. I said, Dad, I got this movie called Tron for Disney, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that and then this and that. And he goes, that's great, Sin. When are you coming home?